We're going to start with a few words on mindset, on becoming a learner, continuous improvement. To me, these are by far the most important things. Art is a practice, but what is it that you're actually doing? Apart from making your images, apart from doing all those things, art is a practice. What is it practicing? What is it exercising? Art is a mental skill, first and foremost. There's all these things that we use. There's external tools like a pen or a pencil, paintbrush, etc. There's those things that are there. But really those are superficial. The mind is where you get to map everything, your brain. In the same way that martial arts can be said to be a vehicle for improving yourself, art is the exact same thing. The mind is where it all happens, even though there's a lot of physical components to it as well. So understanding your brain, understanding how you learn, I think are crucial. And when I was first starting out, I spent probably more time reading about the brain and how things work and how to learn than I was actually spending on art. And I think that was time well spent, and I need to read more about it again. You can constantly re-expose yourself to these things and find out more and more and reinforce just how important they are. I start with mindset though, because how you think about yourself and how you think about the world are crucial in whether you can improve or not. And I don't mean this in any sort of new age way. Hopefully you don't see it like that either. What I mean by it is that if you think that you cannot be better, you will constantly avoid things that will put you in uncomfortable situations. And of course, those are the places that you can actually grow. But if you don't believe that you can grow, then why would you put yourself through a stressful, painful situation? It just would not make sense. So you will prefer to avoid those. This is essentially Carol Dweck's growth mindset. You can have a look online. There's a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. She is the researcher lady who I think coined the term the growth mindset. In fact, I know those are her words, the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. Also, those are called increment versus entity theory. In one case, you believe that you are fixed. You are an entity. You are born a certain way. You are stupid. You are smart. You are beautiful. You're ugly. You're strong. You're weak. You're fixed. You are born a certain way, and that's how you are. And this is also why I don't like the idea of talent, and I avoid using that word, is because talent is supposed to be a gift that somehow makes you into what you are. It further propagates the fixed mindset unintentionally, but it does imply that if you're gifted, you could also be ungifted, and you should stay away from things that you are not good at. So the growth mindset means that you are essentially, you're an open system, you're open source. You can add stuff to yourself, you can subtract stuff to yourself. If you are one way today, then well, tomorrow you'll probably be very much of the same way, but you could be minus or plus 1%. And minus or plus 1% over a long period of time, and you will dramatically, fully be able to change something into something else. Guaranteed. There's a book by Norman Doidge. It's called The Brain That Changes Itself. And in that book, he describes how his father had a stroke. And through training, through vigorous, continuous, consistent training, he managed to get his father to recover. And I thought to myself at a time when I wasn't sure if I could learn perspective or if I wasn't sure if I could see value ever, please help me see value. At that time when I was struggling with those minor problems that in my mind were incredibly huge and overwhelming, and will I ever be able to do this? Is this something I can do? Then I read this book about how his father recovered from a stroke, and he couldn't speak. There's so much that he went through, and he recovered because of the training they provided, because of the growth mindset. And let me just make a small note here and say that it's not enough to believe that you can change and magically you will in some Cinderella way transform. That's not how it happens. You still have to provide the correct stimulus. Norman Deutsch is a doctor and he knew what to provide for his father. So knowledge and mindset and skills go together in a very crucial blend. Those components are all crucial. So I'm not going to say it's all about training, because it's not. You also have to train correctly. You also have to consider what it is that you're doing. You have to be in charge of your training. You have to pay attention to what you're doing, to journal, to diagram, to figure out what's going on, to deconstruct, and be really involved in your own training. You really have to be.